Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Fidget Spinner Junkie Podcast. No, I'm kidding. I'm so kidding. We were talking fidget spinners right before the show. And if you're listening to this in the future, right now in middle 2017, fidget spinners are kind of a craze. Hopefully, if you're listening to this in 3 months, no one will remember them, like those hoverboards. Remember those? People used them for like 2 months, hardcore, and then they started catching fire. I'm kind of hoping that happens with fidget spinners.
Hoverboards are still a thing, and they're used quite often.
No, they aren't. I thought they were out.
Oh,
Seriously?
no.
They refined them, made them better, and they're selling like hotcakes.
How can they be better? They're already crappy, and like the whole core of them is so douchey.
Brian,
What?
it's a thing.
Okay, I have a hard time believing that, but okay, I believe you. Welcome, my friends. Oh my God, to the Space Game Junkie Podcast. I, as always, am your co-host Brian, and joining me, as always, is your co-host Jim.
Brought to you by Dankest Memes, an Xbox exclusive.
Oh yeah, it is currently E3. E3 is in full swing right now, and
yeah, we're gonna do our totally accurate predictions about what's going to be revealed at the press conference.
I think
they've all happened already.
I think that they're going to announce a new Battlefront game. I mean, I'm not sure.
Oh,
but
so
I think they're going to announce Battlefront 2.
Like the
and
EA
Starfield.
ones.
Bethesda is going to kill it with Starfield.
Wait,
That's going to be
didn't
like
Bethesda
the
do
greatest
theirs
thing.
already, or am I like?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
why
okay.
I'm totally accurate.
Okay.
These are totally accurate
I
predictions about the shit that we watched 2 days ago.
I give such a little crap about what's happening at E3, to be honest with you. Like, I remember back in the day, it was like the thing, and now it's like, eh.
Do you like Skyrim?
Because it's on everything. It's the new Minecraft.
It's gonna be on the Switch,
Skyrim
right?
on 3DS. Yeah, it's coming on the Switch, but even better, it's going to be on PlayStation in VR.
What?
Oh yeah.
Wait, what?
So yep.
The funniest thing.
Bethesda didn't show that.
What?
They didn't show it. PlayStation showed it. Everybody was like, "Oh my god, they didn't do it." And then PlayStation had their conference the next day, and they were like, "Check it out." But Skyrim and the 3Ds.
I just love how I heard about this thing where you can hook up 4 generations of Xboxes together, if you're that crazy, to play some Crimson Skies over a LAN. If you're insane.
You know what I would like to see from that though?
What's that?
Is Microsoft is like they're really pushing the like play anywhere thing where it's like I bought it for the Xbox, I can play it on the PC.
They need to do an Xbox
I've been playing
thing.
Forza Horizon all week.
Yeah,
it's great. So I want to see. We did backward compatibility for the Xbox on the Xbox One X, which if you spell that out, Xbox One X, XBOX, Xbox. Oh my God.
Oh,
that's crazy. I see what they did. No, it's like, hey, I heard you like Xbox, so I put an Xbox in your Xbox so that you can Xbox.
Sorry, folks.
Xbox.
Tangent, big time tangent.
But Crimson Skies, yes. Right? That was the one that they showed.
That's the one I want. That's the one I want.
That matters, right? So if you're going to give me crossplay from any first-party stuff, that's a first-party Microsoft game. Please, please, please don't make me rely on finding a used copy of that. I will pay you $10 if you want to just be MicrosoftGOG.com and sell it to me on the PC, because seriously, I know you can make it work now.
If Microsoft did what PlayStation's doing with their PlayStation Now, like, oh, you can play all these old Xbox games on your PC, like Crimson Skies, I would upgrade to Windows 10 for that. I would. Yeah, I would totally upgrade for that.
I don't want to rent it by the month though.
Well, I mean that would be the big stepping stone, is what I'm saying. That would get me to upgrade. You know, instead of buying an Xbox just to play that game, I would. I mean, if they're not gonna freaking sell it outright, just then let me have like a Xbox Now type service where I could stream it like PlayStation does.
Well, I just think it's silly. Like, okay, you guys went to all the effort to actually get backward compatibility working. and
you're not
since you
selling the
haven't
games
had it
digitally.
for a long time, I got rid of all my games.
And you're not selling the
Shit,
games digitally. Yeah. Why aren't they doing
right.
that?
And it's like, oh, I didn't hang on to my games because they weren't backwards
so stupid.
compatible.
They're leaving. They're leaving so
screw
much
me.
money on the table. So much money on the goddamn table.
Absolutely.
Not giving us PC players, like if they sell the both Crimson Skies game digitally in the Windows 10 store, I would upgrade tomorrow. Bar none. I'd format my disk to Windows 10. You finally got me. I would upgrade tomorrow. No question.
And Microsoft owns the rights.
Yeah.
To Crimson Skies 1, the original PC one, which people have done the work and got it to work on Windows 10 for them.
And you can't buy it anywhere.
They could be like, well, we got the rights. We're going to package your hack in with it because what are you going to say? And hey, we're going to distribute it, and bang, there it is, $9.
I think what we're just saying is we're really disappointed in this year's E3. But I mean, every E3 has pretty much been a disappointment since like 2001.
I've watched a few things. Something you haven't seen.
I've watched bits of all the conferences. They're all the frickin' same. Like, here's some footage.
Disappoints me.
What are you excited about? Beyond Good and Evil 2?
That is a thing.
I know it's
Good and Evil 2 is pretty awesome. The new Wolfenstein 2 looks pretty swank.
Okay.
I was actually most impressed by how dismayed Hunter was to find out that Kingdom Hearts 3 was going to be on the Xbox.
Yeah,
he didn't believe me.
Exclusive. That is the most.
I thought all the Kingdom Hearts games were Sony things, weren't they?
No, that's what everybody thought until.
It's totally gonna be on Xbox.
Oh,
that blew my freaking mind.
Wow. Wow.
And then Sony, as far as people are like, VR's dead. It's not getting any adoption. Oh, Sony came out like swinging on VR. They got, what did they show, like 10 things that are VR?
The problem, I mean, they're making VR games, but the problem is they're only like appealing to a portion of your audience that actually has invested in the PSVR. Not every single PS4 owner has a PSVR. So like, you're only. I mean, they're advertising these games just like any other VR like seller would be.
It's the chicken and egg problem, right? It's like everybody's like, well, I'm not going to buy a VR thing because there's no games. Well, we're not going to make games because nobody bought the VR thing.
Well, look on Steam, dude.
So they're like, look, man, we're going to make. Yeah, but all this stuff on Steam is jank, though. It's all mini games.
How do we know that the stuff that they're coming out with isn't going to be jank either?
Because it's Skyrim and Fallout.
Okay, and your two games. These are two games that you can. I'm sorry, we're getting into this argument, but those are two games that you can already play right now without VR. All the other games that they're showing, you have to have VR in order to play them.
And your co-host Hunter.
Hi guys. I'm just saying. Like, I'm glad that they're doing VR stuff, and that's great that they are. But you're only. I mean, you can't say that Sony did like a major impression when it's just like, okay, that's great. I can't play it.
Right, but admit, whenever I showed you,
isn't their VR? I'm sorry, isn't their VR rig cheaper than the PC VR rigs
by half?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't that make it just that much more accessible?
Well, here's the killer thing: is you can take that PlayStation VR, plug it into your PC, and install a driver, and Steam thinks that's a Vive.
Ooh.
And you're good to go.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's sexy.
Trinus makes it. They've done Trinus 3D
again,
streamed to your phone
again,
and now it'll go to the PSVR and it works.
You're talking about Steam. I can't play any of Sony's stuff. So
yeah, anyway. but the thing is though, if you buy the PSVR and you have a PlayStation, then you can use it in the living room there or bring it into the computer.
This is true.
And play twice the games.
I just didn't think Sony.
Your entire legacy. Here's the beauty of Trinus. It will play your entire legacy PC game collection. You want to fire up GTA 5, play in VR, boom, done.
Really?
Takes no tweaking.
It's
already got the profile in the app. 2 clicks and you're doing it.
I love people.
You want to play like Battlefield 2? Do it.
I love people.
So much. So that's the beauty of it.
And your co-host Spaz.
Oh, that guy.
Yep. And another tangent.
Sorry, folks. We're very passionate here at the Space Game Junkie Lounge, And we shoot the bull hockey all the time about this stuff. So E3 is
passionate about games, not with each other. It's not that.
Yeah,
kind of show.
E3 is a big deal still in a lot of ways, even though it's not as big a deal. But we're here to talk about a game.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Entertainment Electronics Expo.
And it's funny, I still have a sweater from my last E3 in 2002, and I wore it the other day. I'm like, oh yeah, that's this week.
Man, you lasted a year longer than me.
I've had some people actually.
Was it terrible? Because so they had the God booth, right? Gathering of developers.
2001 was the last good year.
2002
was not as great as 2001. Yeah, 1999, 2000, and 2001 were amazing. And then after that, it was like, oh, what happened?
Well, I went all 3 years, but I don't remember 2000. And that's because it was so good.
Yeah, 2000, I got very, 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 very drunk and don't remember half the... Anyway, we have a guest. Hi, guest. We have a guest joining us from Potsdam, New York, which is just south of Canada, apparently. God, where is it? Ryan
That's
Hoover.
How he crept across the border.
Yeah, right across
swim Niagara Falls.
Across the border from what's that? What's that chain over there up in Canada that everyone loves?
The chain?
The chain of restaurants, the Dunkin' Donuts type.
The Tim Hortons.
Tim Hortons, yeah.
Which I've
never been to.
Guys.
I hear it's amazing.
Yeah, once you switch to Tim Hortons, you're done. They have you. You're not going back from that.
What do they got?
It's the same stuff you get anywhere. It's the same, donuts and coffee and anything else. They're just better at it. It's just better tasting coffee, better tasting donuts.
Oh, okay.
It's just good stuff.
I thought it was like magical, like Skyline Chili.
Like we're not talking, we're not talking Krispy Kreme here. Like this isn't a game changer. This isn't going to wreck your world.
But it's comfort food. It's very good. It's comforting. Like Dunkin' Donuts is to an East Coaster like me. It's like comforting. So I get it. I've heard it's very good.
And they have the best coffee, really, like the Starbucks stuff. And then you have donut shop coffee, and it's like, wow, why is this so better?
Yeah, Nicole doesn't really understand why I love Dunkin' Donuts coffee. She thinks Starbucks is better, and I'm like, sure, if you like burnt, but that's okay.
You got a Keurig machine or
what? No, those are so wasteful, and the coffee's not that good.
I know. But they got donut shop coffee there.
Yeah, but it's all right. But I mean, I'd rather actually go to a donut shop and get their coffee rather than waste it on a freaking Keurig. Ryan is here. Sorry, Ryan.
That's all good. I got a fidget spinner. I'm set.
There's a game. Oh my God, this is it, dude. You make the game.
I'm just like, hey, you guys talking?
Hey, so on mobile,
I'm really happy to be here on your E3 podcast too.
No, this is it. I figured it out. This is the business model. This is great. So what you do, you make a mobile app that is a variety of fidget spinners, and you can just spin it on the screen, and it will spin. And then you have DLC that is different fidget spinners.
I'm sorry, I can't stop.
And retire.
I'm sorry.
Digital fidget spinners.
Ryan, I'm fucking crying. Excuse my language. I'm crying. That was great. No, folks, we were like the entire conversation up to us going live was talking about fidget spinners. I'm not even kidding. So that's why that was so goddamn funny. Oh, okay. No, we're here to talk about a game called Deep Sixth.
Deep Sixth.
It's not a submarine game, though. That would be a great name for a submarine game.
I did find that somewhat confusing. That it did not in any way involve.
You know what? It kind of is.
You play it long enough, you'll get Deep Six.
You know what? It kind of is very submarine-y. You got whale, you got like sea life and stuff. It is very submarine-y, honestly. Which
we kind of we sat down. I remember we were sitting down with the art team in the room, and we're trying to figure out where we wanted to go with the aliens. We wanted a whole bunch of kind of alien animal monster creatures that live in this nebula. And we started throwing some sketches out. And we were like, well, what would they look like? Will they be kind of floating around in gases? They'd be pushing gases around. Let's find some really weird underwater sea life and see where we go from there. And at first it was, oh no, it's too close. It's too under ocean. It's too deep sea kind of influences. But no, I love it. I think we embrace it. We get ahead of it. This is a game about space whales.
Whenever I first saw the game, like I watched a video from the other day where you were playing through, and it was the stuff on the ship's breaking, so you're like running around the ship fixing stuff, and then there was like giant space critters that were ramming the ship, and your mission was to like take pictures of them. And I was like, oh my god, FTL and Pokemon Snap had a baby. And what I really want though is like you open one of the lockers.
Yep.
And there's a fidget spinner.
Oh my god!
And you're like, what the hell do I do with this? But then you meet aliens, and it's like a first contact thing, and it's like, what the hell could they possibly want? They're about to kill me, and then you give them a fidget spinner.
Okay, I'm actually gonna write this down right now. I'm gonna leave that for the design. My design notes for our programming team. Add fidget spinner to inventory. I swear to you, our next update, you're gonna see a fidget spinner in there.
But you got to make it you got to make it like useful for some reason. Like something has to be fixed with the fidget spinner.
No. It shouldn't be at all.
Really?
Like, what do I do with this the entire time? I've got
it just takes up a space in the inventory I need for duct tape.
What happens is when you use it, when you put it in the use section, you'll blank out for a whole 5 minutes. And you're like, you advance time. And then when you like come out of it,
oh my god, that would be amazing. Really, like in Skyrim, it's like
you're like something out into space, and you're like shit.
Oh god,
that's hard mode.
Where it's like
there'll be a little when we do difficulty modes, we'll have a little switch that says fidget spinner Y or N. And if you click Y, you have that option to just space out, and whatever happens. What goes on in those 5 minutes, you have no control over.
Oh my god.
Well, no, it'd be
like. Why I love talking to fans. Is your ideas are better than mine could ever be. That's brilliant. I love it.
So when you're playing Skyrim, right, and it's like, oh, the shop's not open. I got to kill like 5 hours until this place opens.
Whip out your
and you hit T. So wait, and you hit T and it pulls out a fidget spinner. It's like, how long would you like to spin? And you spin it that many times, and that's each spins an hour.
And the different metals made for the fidget spinner determines how well it spins. Is it a Daedric fidget spinner?
No joke.
Oh my god, you could get
a phone app for this.
Wait, what?
Oh,
wait.
I'm already busted.
Wait a minute. What are you talking about?
That. Dude, they developed that so fast because I just said like 5 minutes ago. Yeah. I needed a phone app.
Oh my
These
god,
people are on it, man.
No, Deep Six, friends. Try to stay on topic.
Would fidget spinners be Dwemer technology? Like you go down in the ancient.
Oh, that's totally Dwemer technology. Absolutely, but you can craft them from different materials. Is what I'm saying. So you could have a dragon bone fidget spinner and a Daedric fidget spinner. A
dragon bone fidget spinner.
Absolutely.
Wait, I'm going.
Why hasn't been a mod made for that?
Scientists have uncovered at this ancient, Homo erectus, Homo sapien like crossover. There's like a fidget spinner. Made of bones. It's there.
My God, they've always been here. The fidget spinner has always been with us.
That comes out and it's like a monkey playing with a fidget spinner.
No, in that new movie with Tom Cruise, the Mummy, right? And they crack open Tutankhamun's tomb, and he's got a fidget spinner, and it's like, oh my god, ancient wonders. They had magic. This is how the pyramids got done.
At Dunkirk, the soldiers threw fidget spinners at the German planes to get them off track. So that's how they successfully got off the beach.
Yeah. And they had magnets in them, right? So it would screw up the bomb sites whenever they were trying to, like the B-17s would fly.
Anyway,
furiously.
I tell you guys, I've never loved not talking about Deep Six so much.
Oh my god, my eyes are full of tears. My eyes are so full of tears right now. So Deep Six, yes.
That.
Also, it reminds me somewhat of Objects in Space, which is a game that I've been.
We haven't actually played that.
But the best thing about that game is the thing that you're never going to get with the game, which is that giant desk-sized console that they built that's got all the flip switches and crap that they take to the cons.
I want that.
That's beautiful. It's like you got a car key with a rabbit foot on it, and you start your spaceship. And
anyway,
but this game comes as
I
close
absolutely love like when we saw objects in space, immediately we were all thinking, oh my gosh, is this too close to Deep Six? Should we be worried?
No.
We see where they've gone with it. And yeah, that box that they built for it, that rig for it, is just amazing. And
sorry, I was gonna say I think there's room for both, because you take a slightly less realistic, more kind of fun, cartoony tack with it. I mean, you can just tell with your graphics.
And that's something that's really a part of our company. All of our games, I'm actually not physically capable of making games that take themselves too seriously.
Good.
Everything that's ever come out of Little Red Dog Games has always been, 60%, oh, that's interesting conversation, 40%, what is wrong with these people? And I look at what's come out with Objects in Space, and it looks like a lot of fun. It looks like Hunt for Red October.
That mindset, though, sorry to interrupt, but that mindset reminds me of why I think this game looks like a Sierra adventure game, because anytime I play a Sierra adventure game, I think to myself, what the hell were they thinking? This is ridiculous. And this has that same kind of like, what am I looking at? But it's fun.
I have to
admit,
with
our first game was a geopolitical strategy game set in the Middle East called Rogue State. And you can always tell who's played it and who hasn't played it, because the people that have played it are like, oh, it's really interesting, especially now with the Middle East situation being what it is, blah, 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 blah. And the people that have played it, they're like, yeah, I thought I was playing a strategy game. Then a giant talking chicken came on the screen and started declaring war against me. And like, that's just the kind of games we write, is games that are kind of weird and kind of random and will surprise you. And don't take himself too seriously. We really are going for.
I have to play this now. I own it. I actually own it.
But then I'll send you a key.
No, I own it. I actually own it.
Yeah, we already have it.
Played it.
Great.
We just haven't got to the talking chicken. I'm curious if we bomb the talking chicken, or like we send a drone strike to like kill the chicken, and then we declare mission accomplished. Then, wow. I don't know.
I'm gonna love you. The chicken has a backstory, and it's pretty messed up.
If it's a talking chicken, it better have a backstory. You don't just drop that shit in the game and don't explain it.
And like, it's such a kind of a light game, Rogue State. But I'm amazed that we have fans, and I'm like, why are you a fan of this game? I'm not even a fan of this game, and I've been working on it for 2 years. And they're like, it's just so weird.
It's mostly positive. It's mostly positive on Steam. It's
The people that like what we're doing like it a lot, and we've changed the thematics 100%, but not the tone. And with Deep Six, it's actually, when it comes to influences, one game that really comes to mind is FTL is definitely one when it comes to managing the power distribution on the ship, but another one is Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes.
Yes.
And like, when I remember sitting down, this was in the very, very early sketches of the game, and I'm sitting down with one of our artists, and I'm trying to get him on to see the vision that we were working with, and he wasn't quite there, and I tried to reference Keep Talking, and he's like, I haven't played that. And I said, all right, you know what a bop it is? And he's like, you mean that toy for kids? I'm like, yeah, imagine a bop it in space. This is that game. This is the game where you bop it, you spin it, you twist it, you press the button, like you never stop moving. And if you stop doing what you're doing, if you take a minute, take a breath, and go, mission accomplished, you will probably die.
Oh, I dig that.
So yeah, it's Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes, but we've got a plot. It's a lot larger, a bit more, I would say, ambitious in terms of scope than Keep Talking, and it's single player, and it's the things that you're focusing on as a player are going to be as much inside the ship as outside the ship. So while you're looking at the space monsters and trying to knock them down and keep them from tearing your ship to shreds, at the same time, you're like, oh my gosh, a fire's just broken out over here. I need to deal with that. Oh wait, the scanner stopped working over here. I've got sparks going off over here. And it's about chaos management.
Yeah. Spaz, what is that game? Is it Space Alert?
Yes.
The board game?
Yeah.
Okay.
We got us there too. Vlada Shivdau's Space Alert is a major influence to the game as well.
I've never heard of Space Alert.
I'm
Space
actually
Alert it's a real time. It's real time. It's cooperative. It's you against the events that are thrown at you, and
I'm shocked
everything's breaking
shitless
down.
nobody has made a PC version of that yet, because that would be beautiful to play multiplayer over the internet with people. Just everybody yelling at it.
Right. So
Yeah.
Space Alert's a little bit like, I don't know. I imagine, I don't have the VR thing going on, but I imagine that Bridge Commander is kind of the same concept in action. Everyone has a piece of the pie. Everyone has something that they're working on. Everyone has limited information, and they're trying to coordinate through each other.
Yeah, and well, Spaz worked on Quintet, which is a game very much like that Star Trek thing that just came out.
Mm-hmm.
It's supports up to 5 people, but you can do smaller ships than that. We had a lot of fun with it. That's why we let him back here.
Eventually, they let me out of my cage. And
so
but yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, along those same lines, there is a lot of that chaos management that, you're trying to figure out what you want to do inside the ship, as well as deal with all the outside threats.
And it's a recurring theme. Actually, it's the same with Rogue State as well, as both are games about trying to postpone entropy. And you've got a system. It's a beautifully working system, and it's going to deteriorate. And with Deep Sixth, it's a roguelike, and it's also got, so it's got your permadeath attributes and so forth with it. And regardless of whether or not you have a successful mission or a terrible mission, it's still going to increase the difficulty. So you'd better make sure you have a successful mission, or the game's going to get harder either way, and you got to make do with what you have. And one thing I really like about Deep Sixth is there's no hand waving that goes on at all. When you break your ship during a mission and you bring it back, if you send it back out again, it's still going to be just as broken as when you left it. If you want to conduct a repair, you better order the parts in advance and then start literally working on your ship trying to fix it before you send it out again. And the idea is it's you decide as the captain what's important to fix, what you can live without, what things you want to put a lot of time, effort, and money into repairing, and what kind of things you're just going to do a clutch for. Just stick some duct tape on it, and it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
And I have to say, one thing I love about the game is the manual that tells you pretty much exactly how to fix everything, which is great. But you might not have the thing you need to fix it, or you might have to find it in your locker, in one of the lockers somewhere. So it's not like, oh, I have the instructions, but which is really great actually, because it just adds tension.
It's really like RTFM the game.
Well, that kind of calls back to the keep talking thing, right? Because you have like one person that's trying to read the manual to the other person that's like trying to defuse the bomb or whatever, right?
And one thing that we really kind of want to look into going forward, and we'll probably realize this concept closer to launch, is I want that manual to be a physical thing as much as a virtual thing. So if people want to play it, like Keep Talking, if they want a 2-player co-op this thing and have one person scrambling through the manual to figure out the repair techniques and bark orders at somebody else, they have that flexibility.
Oh, that would be awesome.
PDF it, and then they can print it out and put it in a 3-ring binder.
How hard can it be?
Not that hard. And the manual is actually really, really nice. It's well written.
Thank you.
It's kind of fun. Like I was telling you, I would love an actual physical copy of it. Like
I think that's something that's going to be in our future. We are going to, I'm pretty sure we're going to do like PDF copies of the manual. The manual, again, the game's in an early alpha state right now, so the manual is always in flux, and we're always looking for feedback from our testers as to how we can improve it, make language more clear. But one of our major principles is avoid text whenever possible. If it can be illustrated through doodles, diagrams, and pictures, always go that way. People learn better that way, and it's going to be a lot better for localization as well if we have less text to translate.
It's a fair point.
Yeah, and again, it's a really nice feature. Now, one of the things that drove me crazy about the demo, and I really like the demo, is are there keyboard commands in there, or did I? And I just didn't
Not in
find.
the demo, but in the
Okay.
next update, we're putting in the keyboards for quick
Thank,
switching between rooms, and
thank,
that was just a silly oversight.
thank
There's no
God.
reason why that shouldn't be there.
Thank God. I was
Yeah,
actually
that's
getting a mild panic attack playing this game and like, oh, I gotta,
how do you play this
oh
thing with
God.
keyboards? Yeah, it's one of those things where we had it in our dev copy, and when we blocked out, cheat codes and commands and that sort of thing, they accidentally got blocked out as well. So the next update's going to have keyboard switching and fidget spinners. Keyboard switching, fidget spinners. We've also got a new update coming out in a day or two, where you'll have fire mechanics. Fires will now spontaneously break
God
down,
damn
break
it.
out.
What?
Yeah, just because I thought the game was too easy for you guys.
Son of a bitch.
So fires are going to spontaneously break out when the hull takes on too much damage and you get a lot of exposed frayed wires. And those are super dangerous because they spread from non-critical equipment to life-threatening equipment pretty swiftly. You have a fire extinguisher that can help you deal with small fires, but when it gets out of control, you need to depressurize the whole cabin, and that's kind of a big deal and a giant pain in the butt.
Well, do you have a finite amount of oxygen? So if you depressurize it, and then you have to make a choice: do I repressurize it or do I just let it go?
It will lock you out of that space for a period of time that will be just long enough to be like, I can't deal with this. So it's depressurizing is a time sink in terms of giving you limiting your access. Also, what's interesting is when it comes to fires, the smoke that accumulates from fires, and we're just putting the finishing touches on these mechanics today, will actually spread based on how your ventilation system is set up. So if you've got your vents spinning in a very specific way, let's say all the air is circulating clockwise through the ring of the ship, the smoke will circulate clockwise through the vents, and that'll be an indication as to, oh man, something's wrong, because you're going to find out something's wrong before your AI tells you.
Well, is the direction of the vents already a thing that's in the game?
Yeah, so your vents
can
break down, and when vents have software or hardware malfunctions, they can break down multiple ways. They can have clogged vents, jammed vents, or they can have the software drivers that control the vents fail. Regardless, you can work around that by recirculating air from a different direction. But yeah, so there are vent mechanics right now, and now that we have fires in play, they're going to be even more relevant.
Oh, cool. Hey, I just thought of an idea stupider than the fidget spinner.
Okay,
I think you're going to love this.
Now you have my
All
attention.
Right. So you remember in the 80s, they came out with, I think it was Parker Brothers that made it. It was Simon.
Yeah.
Okay. So imagine that there is a Simon game that is in one of the lockers. Okay. And then you encounter an alien ship. And then, much like Close Encounters, it wants to play musical games with lights and sound. And then it turns out that the Simon game is actually a translator with which you can speak to the aliens.
Okay. Oh. I know you think that that's a terrible idea, but that is brilliant. And I'm gonna do something with that. I actually really like that. We've got some new creatures. I mean, we've only put in probably about half the creatures that are going to feature in the game. There's probably going to be about 12 at least.
And I have a request about that too, because I handle Alien Pickle. I'm thinking that the alien mothership that comes on the screen should be a giant pickle.
It needs to be a giant
pickle. A giant pickle.
A giant pickle.
Yeah, it would be an alien. In fact, a race of alien pickles.
Some sort of alien pickle. Okay.
That you have to talk to with the Simon thing to get them to trade fidget spinners with you.
All right, I'll leave a note. Say we need some sort of pickle-shaped alien for a Simon game misadventure, and see how long it takes for them to mutiny.
Yeah, because you make the Simon thing would be like a cute little mini game. Right.
I think it's clever. I actually like this idea. I like it. I think it's something that we can do.
You could pull it out and actually play real Simon, and just be like, "Oh, is that it?" And then the one time when you encounter the aliens and they show up and they're all like boop 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 boop, and you gotta.
And if you get it wrong, it'll spawn a whole bunch of worms or something to tear your ship apart. But if you get it right, they'll be like boop 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 boop, and they kind of pull like a Star Trek 4 turn around and just head back out to where. Actually, that is kind of alien pickle shaped as well.
Yep.
That's
yeah.
True.
Okay.
That's true.
You've convinced me. You've sold it. That's as elevator pitches go. That's some of the best.
So right now the demo mission is to find a shipwreck and take a picture of it or bring back the thing, the hypercube, if you can. Yep. I never could.
You gotta retrieve that hypercube.
I never could. I've like 3 different attempts. I was never able to. Like the probe always got killed. But
then the hypercube turns out to be the cube from Hellraiser, and you've got a whole nother problem. Because
turns out that you actually saved the day by not bringing that thing home.
What?
Well, the one thing that in thinking the mission structure, where it's like you go out and you explore sectors, and it's kind of an endurance thing, right? Like, how long can I sustain this bullshit before I have to retreat back to the starbase, right?
And there's a real push your luck mechanic to it as well, where you're going to have a lot of real big incentives to scan one more sector, or to mine another little bit of whateverite. Uh-huh. And you may think, all right, I've got 20% hull. Maybe I'll go for it, and hopefully nothing else will go wrong. And I want players to kind of make that decision of, do I need to cut and run, or do I go a little bit further and take my chances?
Yeah, well, it's kind of, in that way, reminds me a little bit of Weird Worlds, Adventures in Infinite Space. I don't know if you played that one, but it's a classic from way back. But that's the deal. It's like Star Trek, but with a timer, right? You've got limited amount of fuel and push your luck, and you might run into something that'll kill you or whatever. But then it's just like, well, how close can I cut my fuel before I have to retreat back to base?
And there'll be upgrades that let you extend the number of jumps you can make, your fuel capacity. Like there's 30 something upgrades in the game. There's a lot going on there.
But so if it's permadeath, right? If you die, then you have to start from the beginning again.
That is correct, yes.
But if you make it back to the base, then you keep going out again and again until eventually you die, right?
So long as you come back alive and in one piece, the game keeps going as per the usual. And your mission doesn't end either. So if your mission is scan 5 sectors, and you scan one sector, get scared and come back, and then go out, scan one sector, get scared, come back. The game will let you do that, but every time you come back, the game's going to get a little harder. So if you want to complete a mission over, 3 or 4 different chunks, that's fine. But like the harder missions are going to be a whole lot harder to get through.
Yeah. So you want to maximize.
So you really want to make every mission count. Every time you go out, you really want to push your luck as much as possible. You really want to get as much of that mission, if not all of that mission, done. Because regardless of whether or not you completed mission 1, you're still going to be playing mission 1, but the difficulty level will be 2.
So when you go back to the starbase, because you said it doesn't repair your ship or anything, right? So what kind of relief do you get by going back?
So what you'll do is the mission before, you'll get to requisition resources. So you'll do things like, I need some extra hull plating to reinforce weak hull points. I need a whole bunch of replacement circuits for circuit boards that are fried. And basically anything that can break in the game or perma break in a mission can have a replacement part ordered. I had a screen that blew out. I need a replacement screen. I need some new glass for the windshield, that sort of thing. You order all that in advance, and it'll arrive a mission later, which means you need to kind of predict at the very beginning what your needs are going to be, because ordering it's going to cost you requisition points, which you earn from completing mission objectives. So the idea is you order in advance, you go out there your mission, you come back, you get a nice safe place in your space station to conduct your repairs, but you can only repair using what you've got. and what you've ordered from before. And if you over order, then you're going to have fewer requisition points to do upgrades to make your spacecraft actually better with. If you under order, you're going to be going back out to space with a rinky-dink spaceship.
That's pretty awesome.
Basically, I hate my players.
I've got an idea for you.
Go for it.
What if in one of your encounters you encounter a Borg-like species, but instead of being all Star Trek-y Borgy, they contact you like War Games, and they're like, "Would you like to play a game?" And like instead of a mini game of chess pops up, a mini game of checkers pops up, and if you beat the computer, they won't attack you.
But it could be 3D checkers. From
It's so
that's like
weird.
for the dumb Vulcans, they play 3D checkers.
We already, like, in the previous game, Rogue State, we threw in a War Games reference in there as well. Like when you try and nuke the world, it'll say, "Do you want to play a game?" Just like that. It's just weird that that's come up twice now.
So what about like you get a mission where you have to go out and contact this super advanced race of aliens? But
So
when you
we've
get
got-
out there, you find out it's actually a trailer court in space, and it's very disappointing.
They're actually just shitty aliens that you don't want to talk to, and they're just the worst. They're like alien neighbors that you look at and you're like, oh my god, I wish they'd move.
They live in trailers. Their spaceships are up on cinder blocks.
That
It's
should be
terrible.
Earth. That should be Earth. Is the space trailer park? Sorry.
That's a great tagline. Deep Six, explore a trailer park in space. But I like the mission structure for this game. So we've got story missions that, you know, involve expanding the relationship between the pilot of the ship and her artificial intelligence unit. And the artificial intelligence unit starts off the game being pretty stupid. And as the game progresses, that changes. And the implications of the newfound intelligence of the artificial intelligence unit is interesting for the player. Is having a super intelligent AI on my ship going to be good for me or bad for the human race? And that's interspersed. That story is told in between procedurally generated missions, which are things that could be anything from, like, you know, photograph these creatures to literally kill a whole bunch of these creatures, harvest their corpses, and make some sort of Frankenstein whale monster out of it. Like, there's a whole bunch of that's actually not officially in the mission list yet, though I have brought that up a few times with our team. But it could be anything
being yet.
If this was Mass Effect, then the dialogue choices that you have with the AI would influence its opinion of you. And if you pick the right thing, then you actually get to sleep with it.
We actually wanted to go branching endings.
It would be great boning in this game.
Yeah, I don't have the budget for branching endings, unfortunately, but it's one of those things that is always been there in our mind. Is we'd love to be able to have the player influence and direct that story a little bit.
Well, do you get any choice in the dialogue that you have with the AI?
Very, very, very limited,
Okay.
and largely superficial in nature. The story is the story, and the story is told through accomplishing things. But everything that goes on in the game itself, designing your ship. Every time you launch a probe, you'll be naming that probe, and that probe will have a personality.
Wait, what?
And when your probe ultimately dies by being eaten by a whale, like, the next probe that you buy will be like, what the shit? I didn't ask for this. So like probes will literally like be very self-aware and be like, why did you send my brother to die, kind of thing.
And if you name the probe, because you get to pick their name, you said, right?
Yep,
if you name the probe Anal, then it should be very, very upset with you. Because you're not fun.
We'll do that kind of Fallout, you know, you pick a name and it'll speak its name back to you, but only for Anal.
Yeah. It's like, are you kidding me? You could have named me anything, and yeah. Give your probes a complex.
So it's going to be sorry, go ahead.
It's kind of like, you've seen Dark Star, right? Where the bomb gets like a complex.
I haven't.
Yeah, see.
I know.
I was waiting on that.
I know. I need to.
At the end of the show, we used to actually play the end credit music from Dark Star.
That's the beginning credit
little
music,
country
actually.
western song.
It's the beginning credit music. I switched it up though.
You haven't seen it?
No, but I watched.
You put the country western thing at the beginning of the show.
No.
Or you're saying that's
I see. I see what you're saying. No, the music.
How'd you get the Frank above the beans? What? Or the beans? I don't know.
The music was from the beginning of the movie, and I used to use it at
Yes.
the end of our podcast. But now I've switched it up. After 200 episodes, I decided to go with something different for a little while. I don't know if no one's complained yet. I'm surprised.
No one listens that long.
Yeah, probably not.
They haven't detected.
No one gets to the end where it's the Han Solo song from Star Wars Connect, which is exactly what it is.
Oh my god!
Apparently, no one's gotten that far. I guess, or people just don't care.
Do the trash compactor.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, you could put some kind of like necro dancer kind of like disco mini game in here or something. I don't know.
So
you need like strange disco aliens. It would be like the Bee Gees from space.
So you were saying that there are
that.
procedural generated missions and story missions, or this is going to be like a mix, like kind of like Privateer, where you had like side missions you would do, and then every now and then a story mission would come up.
Well, what happens is you'll do a story mission to begin, and then you'll be doing procedurally generated missions until you reach a threshold of accomplishment. So you've met a certain number of goals through those missions, and then that'll open up another story mission and so on. And then as you get to the end game, you come to a decision point where you can do what's easy, quit the game then and be like, hey, won the game, and you get, the shitty ending. Or you could be like, you know what, let's play in hard mode. And it's not actually playing it over again. It's actually just an extra couple missions, but those missions are for sociopaths and serial killers, just insanely challenging missions altogether. And that's how you're going to get the real ending, the really good ending, the satisfying ending.
So, like, how many missions do you have? Like a ballpark as to how many missions?
Yeah, I mean, we're
in one session.
I would suggest probably around 16 missions in this game. But a single mission can take you to several sectors. A lot of things go wrong. And it's also, you got to remember that there's a permadeath element and a very steep difficulty curve with this game as well. So I didn't want to go much further than 16. It's got that kind of same progression as Endless Dungeon. And they've got I think it's 12 floors that you go through.
Yes.
But still a highly rewarding, very, very enjoyable game.
Oh, you mean
Will
Dungeon?
the talking chicken be making a comeback?
Dungeon of the Endless is what he's saying.
Oh god, yeah, we love that.
So
game.
every single game that we do, what did I call it? Endless Dungeon.
Dungeon of the Endless.
Every single game that we do at Little Red Dog is all part of the same shared universe, which is something that we just decided on a whim.
Wait, what?
So we did a real kind of stupid throwaway game for charity called Conspirocracy, which is really all about a man who loses his identity, and he has to go to a faraway country called Chicanistan to figure out what's gone wrong and what's happened to him and reclaim his identity from a cult. And that's where we came up with this despotic chicken, and we thought, well, let's just throw it into Rogue State. Why not? And so there'll be little nods to Rogue State in Deep Sixth. And then after that, we'll be producing our next game, which will be a sequel to Rogue State 2, and that will have some nods to Deep Six. So there's always going to be that continuity for those that enjoy our games.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Do you have like a Bible or something, like a flowchart that keeps track of all these shared universe bits? I've always wondered about that with like TV shows and books. Like, how do you keep track of all the shared bits like that?
There's a lore book for pretty much all of our products, but it's not like a shared lore book. So Deep Sixth has a lot of information on the lore. Like, if you were to look at the descriptions that exist for just the random minerals that appear in the nebula, there's like extraordinary amounts of work that go into creating plausible explanations for what this mineral is, why it's valuable, what systems it's like. Even how the hyperdrive works is filled with so much technobabble that I feel like I'm writing for a Star Trek manual. And we've put all that lore together, and we are offering it as rewards for Kickstarter backers. I'd love to put them in a hardcover book, along with some beautiful art and sketches and illustrations of our creatures. Our creatures all have very, very, specific taxonomies and a lot of medical analysis as to how they work and how they live in space. So yeah, we maybe overdo it a little bit on the lore side, but it works so well in Rogue State. And when people write to us and say, "Oh man, I really love that character of Farouk," or what was going on with the Karifi people, and I'm like, that's crazy that people got that invested in the lore of this very, very simple game. But so that's what we're gonna. So there's a lot of backstory, and there's a lot of material for us to be referencing.
Yeah, because I like games like Red Shirt. I love stuff like that because it's just weird.
Yeah, exactly.
The weirder, the better.
There's a question from the Discord chat here, which is, with permadeath, is there any progression with each new game, like Everspace?
There are no plans for that at this time. If the demand is there, we'll take a look at it. We'll think about it. But at this time, my instincts are that we want to reward the player based on learned ability and skill rather than repetition, kind of Dark Soulsing this thing and saying, well, I've played the same thing 100 times and I've leveled up the hard way. Like, if you get better, it's because you've learned to manage things better, you've understand how repairs work better. It's actual learning that's occurred rather than you've got a bonus to a stat because you've played the game.
Right. Rather than just manipulating the meta of all of it.
And I just don't want to do it. Like, I want players that finish this game to have bragging rights. I want those players to be able to turn to other players and be like, that was awesome, I can't believe I did that. Rather than saying, well, it took me, 100 hours, but thankfully I got all the stats necessary that I was capable of beating it. So it's a difficult game. And I'm not really feeling the whole rewarded you in the meta for a playthrough thing.
Yeah, maybe, but I do like how the game is sort of randomized though. Like the stuff that's in your drawers and that is different, different placement. I don't know. Are you guaranteed to have the same items just in different places? Because that was like
at the very early level, everything will be there to fix your ship. As time goes by, some things are consumable, and if you don't order replacement parts or replacement, radiation pills or whatever, then you've decided you're going to make do without. Again, if you don't put it there, if you don't make it, then it's not going to change. As far as what if things go missing, just to be consistent with the lore of the game, it's a ship, you're the only one on that ship, and you park it at a space station. It doesn't really make a lot of sense for us to start taking things away.
No, but whenever you first start, you don't know where all your junk is. So
no, exactly. So, and when you arrive, you don't really know what kind of a state your ship's going to be in, and it's not until you take it out there that you're going to have a chance to check it out and kick the tires a little bit.
So you're basically gonna learn as you go as to how much your ship can handle. It sounds like.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, it's terrible.
But we've also noticed that when it comes to repairs, what you need to do to repair or the settings you need to set for your laser, for example, those are different every time. They're not always static. Yeah,
that's true. That does change with every gameplay. And we have not set it so that and I guess the reason for that is I want to discourage players memorizing the codes for things. So when they see a certain pattern, I don't want players to be like, oh, that's click, 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 click. I want them to look at the manual, at least at the very beginning. But like between missions, the combinations of switches that you're flipping, buttons that you're pressing should be pretty consistent. In fact, they will be completely consistent.
Now,
but it's just randomized at the beginning of every playthrough.
That's correct, yeah. And that's to stop walkthroughs giving you instant answers and players memorizing combinations.
So, sorry, go ahead.
Well, whenever we were talking before you showed up, Spaz and I were having a conversation that this one thing that the game kind of inspired me as far as a game idea, which is a different animal, right? But it would be like, what if you had a game with a spaceship that you stole and you didn't know how to fly it because it was like some alien crap and none of the controls are labeled, and it's about as complex as a jet airliner cockpit, and then you randomly reassign the function of the buttons every damn time.
It's like Star Trek 4. Engines are my specialty. Speaking Klingon, now that's hard.
Like, I think it's a great idea. I think I wish you had pitched that to us a couple years ago. Actually,
well, no, this could be another game. Just call it like My Spaceship is an Asshole.
Yeah, like. And I like the idea of, you don't know what happens when you stick your finger in this orifice, but apparently the ship lurches forward when that happens.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like
my starship.
Keep a notebook, right, and start writing down controls. Like, what did that do? I don't know. It made a weird noise.
But the only way a game like that would really be fun is if everyone's spaceship reacts differently to different stimuli. If you're in the alien spaceship and you're like, oh, did you tickle it right here? Like, well, why would I do that? And they're like, well, that's how you open up the torpedo bay or whatever. That would be kind of cool. It'd be like that episode of Battlestar Galactica where Kara's kind of crawling into Cylon's ship and just tugging randomly at veins and nerves and things to make it move.
Great episode.
Well, the layout could be completely the same, but
the
responses are different.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like you push one button and the trunk pops open. It's like, oh, wasn't that? Oh, ship's on fire.
And the idea that you are being pursued while that's going on, so you have to kind of figure it out as you go. I think you're going to piss off a lot of players, but boy, would that game ever be a lot of fun.
Yep.
Well, that kind of leads into a question I was going to ask, because you said there were all these upgrades for different systems. So when you upgrade a system, does that mean the procedure for repairing it is different than the last upgrade?
Okay, so there's two. We have upgrades that will make systems more reliable, so they'll make systems less likely to fail. They've got upgrades that will improve your just ability to survive, things that make you stronger, things that make you able to travel more, things that also give you a better sense as to what you're getting into. So we'll scan space and let you know, oh, hey, there's some aliens here and they're pretty scary. You should probably avoid them right now. But one thing that is not yet implemented, and we've been talking a lot about this, is being able to discover new kinds of repairs. And it's not a fully fleshed out mechanic right now, but it'd be great if, for example, you've got an email system that you use to communicate with corporate lackeys back on Earth. And it'd be great if you befriended a lackey or went the extra mile to help one, they would give you some indications on some new ways of repairing things that you may not have considered. Have you considered putting this universal control chip in here and pressing these buttons in this order? That'll help you out a whole lot. So being able to unlock new ways of repairing old equipment, I think, is a nice incentive for a player. But that's one of those mechanics that is a late concept, and we're still trying to flesh out what that would look like.
Yeah, could you do that with like an NPC that's like, I don't know, an engineer, and it's like, hey, if you're out there and you find like a roll of space toilet paper and you bring it back, that would be great. I'll teach you something.
And we do have those kind of optional objectives. In fact, your corporate overlords are really interested in your killing a whole bunch of creatures, bringing back their entrails for study, and helping them kind of use that. So maybe if you go the extra mile and take some good documented photographs, observe some behavior, and do some cool stuff for those guys. Maybe if you retrieve some of their lost spacecraft,
you have a
they'll throw a bone your way. Teach you a new way of duct taping a wire.
Do you have a limited cargo capacity? Like you have to make hard decisions about what am I going to take back? And it's like,
not
oh,
at
I
this
found
point.
this
No,
thing.
there isn't a whole lot. Like for retrieval, you're really going to be retrieving asteroids or spacecraft components. And a lot of like the game does not, at least in the early stages, demand retrieval. In fact, even having a probe that you can use to retrieve things is an upgrade. Like when your game starts, you won't have that probe at all. And when your probe dies, it stays dead, of course. So you got to go out and shell out for a brand new probe and then name it and teach it to not hate you. So, so, yeah, as far as retrieval is concerned, you're really only going to be retrieving minerals, spacecraft parts, hyperdrive cubes, and things like that.
I guess the limits come from how much you can have in your lockers and your personal inventory.
Yes. Yeah, the inventory is going to be a meaningful but not like game-breaking limit. It just stops you from stuffing yourself with a whole bunch of fuel cells.
Sure. Yeah, of course. No, that makes sense.
As far as your spacecraft's hold limit is concerned, no, I hadn't really put in any plans to limit the size on that because there's not a lot of like the whole game is not built around retrieving per se.
Okay. I keep waiting on a game to make inventory management literally Tetris as a joke. Just
like all the little things that you have to hold on to have to be arranged and they're falling very slowly into your inventory.
And they're shaped exactly like Tetris blocks.
That's great. You have to love
them into the.
Well, Diablo kind of did that.
Dungeon
sort of, yeah.
You gotta have it like
feels
constantly falling, and if you don't get it in place, it blocks up your inventory permanently.
I think people would.
That'd be brilliant.
I think people would hate that.
That would be like a complete terrible way to do the mining stuff in Elite Dangerous.
Oh, come on.
As your probes are out picking up rocks, you have to Tetris them into the
as if it's not terrible now.
I know it's completely shitty. I'm just saying, like Braben could make it just
make it worse.
You could make it that much worse by making it Tetris-like.
I know it's like this is a Thargoid torture device here.
Yeah, great. So are the universes in Deep Six randomly generated as well, or is it the same map?
Universe is randomly generated.
Nice. I love things with random generation.
And we really do plan to fill it with a whole bunch of just weird shit that'll keep people talking. I don't even want to tell you what's in it because I want you to explore and be like, what is that? What is going on there? You guys are crazy.
No, that's the thing. Not enough space games have the weird shit because space is probably full of weird shit. And yeah, it's always like insect aliens, cat aliens. Okay. Give me something really fucking weird. Like a shark head with human feet, like in Moana. Or something really just like, what is this? You know?
Yeah, I kind of want to go for that Fallout 2 vibe where you're just walking around randomly, aimlessly, and then you see something and you're like, why is that here? What is that all about? And it's just, has nothing to do with the plot. It's not going to advance anything. It's just a thing to reward you for exploring and make you go, well, that was super weird.
Well, that's one thing I loved about Star Trek The Next Generation is they had some episodes where they went, excuse my language, batshit insane. Like, oh, we're going to turn these four crewmen.
Thing right now. We're watching all those episodes one after another, and we're starting with season 1. And holy shit, that season does not stand the test of time.
It doesn't at all. No. Seasons 1 or 2 for the most part are garbage. But I'm talking about like episodes where even like these are later episodes I'm thinking of, like the ones where these 4 crew members are going to get turned into children, huh? Or the ship has become.
How about, hey, we've got a planet full of Native Americans. By the way, Wesley's God.
Yeah. Or the ship's become sentient now. It's a giant pyramid. Or the best.
You know what?
Or the
what
best
would be
one.
Great.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
The best one is where we're gonna make this entity live in a candle and have sex with Dr. Crusher. Like,
yeah, that was
somebody somewhere said, you know what we need is
I got a mental
old
image
fucking
that
episode.
I don't like.
A good old. Did you say a good old candle fucking episode? Is that what you said?
We need a good old ghost fucking episode on this one. We got 2 characters to choose from: Deanna, Beverly, Draw straws. Who's gonna fuck this Scottish ghost?
They're both pretty useless.
Beverly is
Sadly.
this time. Like,
So
you gotta
what
wonder,
about
like,
what
you're
about
right.
the
And
You know,
Deanna
must have
Troy-
been just
Deanna-
one big Coke party.
Deanna Troy already had like the Jesus child at that one episode, so
Oh God, right. Oh my God, right. I forgot about that
So-
one.
take it away, Bev. It's all yours.
yeah. Troy had like a big Coke nail like through the whole thing too, and so that's what gave her powers.
Uh,
She had to like go to, but
Since you are angry with me,
no.
what
I-
if she could tell moods on people, but she had to smell them? Like
Uh,
she could smell moods, and then she'd just walk up.
See, yeah,
and, like,
that's the kind of
rudely
weird
sniff the
shit
out of
that
people.
like science fiction doesn't do enough of. I think is like
Yeah, it's
yes,
based
I
on
can sense-
pheromones, right?
I can sense your thoughts, but I have to get really close and smell you first. That's the only way it works.
That sounds like Babylon 5 shit right there. That's the kind of thing that's a show that just went weird.
And I loved it for that because it wasn't afraid to take those risks.
Maybe
That's
I
what
need-
we're aiming for.
I need to
We're
give it
aiming
another
for
chance.
we're aiming for a game that people are going to remember because it was just so different. It was just weird, and that's our value added here. An affordable game that makes you talk.
So
Yeah.
what about
Oh.
they encounter intelligent artificial, like a hyper advanced artificial intelligence, right? It's almost like the whale probe, you know, in Star Trek 4,
Yep.
right? But they meet these things, and these entities actually turn out when they learn the history that they are the last remaining machines from this great civilization that unfortunately made sentient sex toys, and they are actually and there would be like two. There's like Adam and Eve, right? Because Adam and Eve store. But you know, so it would actually be like intelligent marital aids from some long lost civilization that no, don't do that.
What?
No, it's awesome. I'm writing this down.
Yeah, it's like we found the most advanced AI. What's your origins? Well, originally we were created as sex toys, and then
the
we
economy
continued to
collapsed.
evolve, and then we had to.
So that was civilization peaking right there. They had nothing more to do after
Well,
that.
Well, people are always afraid, like, you know, we're gonna make like the Terminators, and they'll take over, and it's like, well, what if like just the fleshlights, you know, like became self-aware and then took over.
On that note.
All right.
Moving
Don't make
on.
artificially intelligent,
Moving on.
sentient marital aids.
I think they would be very upset. I think they would be very upset. What was that old Robin Williams joke? It was dark, it was light, it was dark, it was light, it was dark.
Yeah.
About the divorce court.
So
If the penis could
Yeah.
talk. Yeah. So sorry, folks.
so that would be an interesting website that you could set up, though, right? It would be like a quiz, right? It would be like alien artifact or marital aid, and you could just have like a picture of something, and just you have to guess, like, what is it? Is it an alien artifact or is it some kind of sex toy? Because did you ever see the site? It's gone now, but it was Dog Toy or Marital Aid. That game was hard. That game was difficult.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's called Dog Toy or Marital Aid, and they would show it would be like some weird dildo thing or a dog bone, and
You're
it's
using
like,
a dog toy
what
as
the hell is that?
Marital Aid.
and 50-50 chance you were wrong, and that's what made it hilarious.
Oh, we're
It's
all...
like, oh my god, I know what that is. Oh, it's a chew toy. Never mind.
So let's talk about the Kickstarter.
Yep.
It's got a week left as we record this, and last I looked, you're about a third or a fifth of the way there.
That looks to be correct. Yeah.
So while we all hope it succeeds, I have backed it. Spaz has backed it. I know other people.
Thanks,
have backed
guys.
it. You're welcome. I put my money where my mouth is, sir.
We're gonna have you on our show, but we're definitely not gonna back your game.
That
I actually backed it before you got booked.
That actually has happened. That actually once or
Oh, wow.
twice.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not going to say when or what, but that yeah. So if I really hate to be negative, but what happens if the Kickstarter does not succeed? Do you have a plan B, like alpha funding, early access? I mean, what is your plan going forward if the Kickstarter is not ultimately successful?
We keep working. We keep doing what we're doing. We keep
Oh,
working.
good.
And we may have to limit some ambitious features. I mean, you've seen how far we've come. And
Yeah, the demo is great.
the demo, I mean, the demo's not half bad. Not half bad. And
all you need is keyboard commands.
Yeah, and all of the mission architecture is really there. It just needs to be strung together. We got to get the we got to get the script finalized so the voice actors can get working. But I mean, I think that we're pretty close to a finished product. The question is, what is that? Is that product going to be fully featured? And what extra little features would we really, really like to do if we had the time, money, and resources? So if this doesn't get funded, we kind of built a fence around what we absolutely have to do, and what we think is going to make for just a great gameplay experience. And all of the really ambitious stuff that we were excited about, we may have to shelf or find, outside investment somewhere else. And there is plenty of doors left on the West Coast for us to be knocking on to see if we can find third-party investment in what we're doing here with Deep Sixth.
That's good.
For those people that have already backed and we've already sent keys to, don't worry. You're still going to get the game regardless of whether or not the Kickstarter is funded.
That's really awesome.
And that's just like, why it's a shitty thing to do, to take a game away from somebody who says, hey, I really believe in what you guys are doing. So you guys are going to get the game no matter what. All of our backers are going to get the game no matter what. It doesn't matter if the Kickstarter fails. You're going to enjoy yourself a nice free game. And we're going to make the best game we can with the resources we have available. And we're not done until the Kickstarter is done. So you're going to keep seeing the updates. We're going to keep adding on some new features. We're going to be showing you guys what's going on. And it's going to be great. And we're really lucky to be so wonderfully supported. We've got some great backers. We've got some great feedback from people as well. And it wasn't that people were critical of the game at all. In fact, if anything, and everyone that seems to have tried it has liked it. The challenge for us has just been getting the game into enough hands as possible.
Yeah, I mean, visibility. We're in a phase now, especially even with space games, where there's such a glut that I don't like
throwing indie apocalypse around because we know that there's a lot of indie games and the barriers to entry are getting lower all the time, and Steam's newest changes are probably not going to do much to address that. But
I hope so. But
at the same time, like for a company like ours, we can do a whole lot more with less than most companies. We have zero bloat and everybody's a generalist. Everybody can take on multiple seats. We're also on a 24-hour cycle in that we've got people that work on Deep Sixth all over the world. In fact, at no moment in time is somebody not supporting the game in some way, shape, or form because of our time zone differences, which is also just an amazing thing as a developer, in that I can go to bed real grumpy about a problem that is with the game's code, and then I'll wake up in the morning and it'll be fixed because somebody figured out what was going on. And it's really good for morale to have teams that are spread out in that kind of way, working with the same iterations of the game.
Who's working on it
so
right
the game's
now?
Still going to come out. The game's still going to happen.
Right.
It's just a question of what it's going to look like, and what our promotion budget's going to be, and how we get it into enough hands.
Who's working on the game right now? I mean, you're here,
right now.
But who's working on it right now?
What time is it in Germany right now?
I think it's
right now.
morning.
This will be the end of my shift. My shift will be ending actually just momentarily, and then Dennis, who's in Germany, will be getting up bright and early and finishing up the fire mechanics.
That's amazing. So, how many people in total are at Little Dog Games?
Gosh, I think we're at 10 in various states. Some people are full time, some people are part time. Even myself, I'm actually part time right now. and that's great because I'm moving away from code and more to managing all the facets of the company right now, and keeping everyone else coordinated. We've got an artist that's full-time, we've got a programmer that's full-time, and we'll probably be bringing on a second full-time programmer pretty soon.
Yeah, that's the thing I wanted to point out, is that the art is really good.
Well, I'll make sure to tell the team that they are.
We love it. We love it.
They're so proud, and we give them very little direction, and that's by choice. So we have an idea for concepts, but when it comes to things like Derek Restivo, he loves color, and he makes very, very bright, colorful games. And some people think it looks like Fruit Loops have vomited all over things. But I swear, like, I will always support experimenting with color, creating games that feel different, that look different. Because I don't want to bore people with just looking at the same gray walls again and again and again, especially when it's the same ship that you're in for the whole game long. So I think he'll be thrilled to hear that you guys really like the art style.
Yeah, I just wish that there was more cupboards and stuff to open. Like not even that they're important to the game, but it just could be like random crap.
And that's something that actually is on my mind as well. It's more not so much cupboards as I want every single panel to be openable and for you to see a whole bunch of wires inside. And then I want you to be able to take scissors and cut those wires and have your ship, break in some capacity as a result of that. My dream is for every single part of every single room to be removable in some capacity. As for how realistic it is for us to get there, I think it could happen. I think it could happen. It's just a question of finding the time. And over the next few months, we want to get all of our features in. Once all those features are locked in place and good to go, and we like to get the way it plays and feels, then I want players to start having the freedom to disassemble their ship. So, and it could be like, you take this panel off and drop it on the ground. It'll stay dropped on the ground. Or if you want to take a panel off the wall, stick it in a torpedo tube and eject it, wouldn't it be cool if that thing could be a projectile that you could throw at somebody? I think it'd be cool.
The one room missing is there is no bathroom.
Yeah, so the idea behind these ships is they're not really intended to be used for more than 20 or 30 minutes at a time. The lore of these ships is they're expendable probes that are one man, and it's usually a slave. It's an involuntary employee that they put in these things, and they warp into a section of space, and then they scan for about 20 minutes the sector, and then they come back.
Oh.
And it's one of those things where an AI could do it, but because of certain laws that exist, AIs are not allowed to be too intelligent. If an AI is too intelligent, it could lead to the robot uprising.
Or just AIs are expensive and people are cheap.
That's another thing is so all AIs are shackled in terms of their intelligence. So you got to put a pilot in there, and you are a prisoner. You as the pilot have committed an offense that has cost a lot of money, and your prison contract has been bought out by this Astra Corporation. And the Astra Corporation has said, great, you now belong to us. We're going to park you in this spacecraft, and you're going to keep scanning this nebula, which, by the way, is incredibly deadly and will almost certainly result in your death until we are satisfied. And what's interesting is, like, as you're exploring, you're going to discover, like, the corpses and entrails and parts of other prisoners who have lost their lives scanning nebula.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's cheerful.
So it's a bit like MST3K. Your bosses didn't like you, so they shot you into space.
Almost exactly. Yeah, actually, very much so. It's and your boss is just completely ambivalent to you as a person. They actually have zero investment in you. You are an expendable resource. Your equipment, your spaceship is worth way more than you ever will be. So you're trying to work off your debts, basically, and they don't even give you a name. They refer to you as, involuntary employee 1056. And you just gotta, and you are on the space station for refueling and repairs, and you're the only one there. And you're like, well, why don't I just take this spaceship and warp back home? But it won't let you do that. All it will let you do is warp into the nebula and warp back. So you're really stuck, and you can communicate with the outside world, but this company monitors your communications, and they're like, nope, you can't talk about things we don't want you talking about. They'll censor your conversations. And the fact that there are aliens in the nebula is not appreciated or known by humans. It's not known by people on Earth. The company knows all about it, but they've kept it a secret very effectively. So they're like, oh yeah, by the way, this nebula you're scanning, there's a whole bunch of space monsters in it, but there won't be a problem. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine.
Yeah, Brian, what is the that space mining game? I cannot think of the name of it.
Astrox?
No, not Astrox. The one where you actually get in the EVA suit and go out and mine stuff.
Oh.
And then it got stupid weird because it was like,
it's
we
about
thought
dreams
it was this
or
game.
something.
Yeah.
God, keep talking. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, this one's not about dreams.
No.
Well, it's more like nightmares, right? Because it's sort of a setup like that where you're a prisoner on this ship, and they send you out to mine and stuff. And I played it for a while, and I'm just like, oh yeah, okay, so this is kind of cool.
Armed
and you're trying to like earn
planetary
your freedom or
prospectors.
whatever. Yeah, there we go.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, we had them on ages ago. It's a neat game where you're in a mining suit, like almost a mining mech, and you're an indentured servant, basically a slave. You're a prisoner, and so
yeah, I'll throw a link to it in the thing. You need to check this out because it'll probably for no other reason than you like games that get weird, and this game gets weird, and it's
weird.
It's not at all what you expect. This is not the game that it looks like.
That sounds awesome.
I wonder if that's going to like frustrate people because they think it's like, oh, this is like some EVA suit simulator. And then it turns into something kind of like a hellscape of Nightmare Land.
And what's it called again?
It's ARM, Planetary Prospector.
ARM.
I put a link in the stream chat.
Yeah,
I
could also. We do have to wrap up though, but I can send you a link later. But yeah, it hasn't been updated in a while. Anyway, we got to wrap it up. So, Ryan, I want to. Yeah, thank you for taking the time to talk to us about Deep Six, and I really hope the Kickstarter succeeds. Again, folks, the game is Deep Sixed. It is currently kickstarting for another week as we record this. It could definitely use your help. It looks like a great game. We have played a demo of it, and we like it a lot. We're all very impressed by the art style. Oh, by the way, it's really funny. The writing is great. The voice acting is fantastic, especially of the computer. I love the computer. She's like, please be optimistic. She's great. So love the computer. But
We've got some great dialogue for Holly.
Great.
The computer is going to be the real star of the show.
Oh, she kind of already is. Just a couple quick programming notes, folks. On Thursday, we are going to start a monthly sojourn to the planet Pandora with Borderlands 2 in co-op. I've never played it co-op. I've heard it's a lot of fun, so that's going to be a good time. And next week on the podcast, very excited because we all like this game. We're going to be talking to the developer of Icarus Starship Command Simulator next week on the show, which if you haven't played is a $5 game that's basically first-person FTL, but better. I think it's better.
And also kind of weird.
Very weird. Very weird.
I could tell from the tutorial that he's got a good sense of
humor. There's like a giant. Yes. You can run into like a giant fly that you could actually beam into apparently and kill it from the inside. Apparently, that kind of. It's weird. It's very very weird. Like you run into malevolent planets who suck your shield energy. Like I'm not even making that up. That actually happened to me. So I already recorded video of that one, folks, on the YouTube channel if you want to check it out. Again, Icarus Starship Command Simulator. It's actually, don't let its kind of looks fool you. It doesn't look great, but it plays fantastically. So that is definitely a game you want to check out. So that is next week on the show. Ryan, again, thank you so much for taking the time to join us and talk about Deep Sixth.
Well, thanks for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. And folks, don't get the fidget spinners. Just avoid them. They're just a fad. They're going to get away. There are other things you can do to keep yourself from fidgeting. Seriously, I fidget all the time, and I find ways to deal with it. Pens, twirl a pen. That's just a much cheaper way to deal with fidgeting. Like, if you want to know what I'm talking about, there's a scene in Top Gun where Val Kilmer is twirling a pen. You know, just learn how to do that, and you'll be much better. It
immediately makes him cool.
It does. That's why I learned it, because I'm like, that's so cool. I want to be able to do that. I spent hours learning how to do that.
It was also the last time in his career that anyone ever wanted to be him.
Yeah, I also wanted to go stand on a volleyball field and flex my arms. Yeah.
Well, no, he had a good one in
Kiss Bang Bang was great. And
I think The Doors was pretty all right.
He just overcame cancer. Let's be nice. He just overcame some cancer.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so Top Gun came out in '86. I don't think that was the last movie that was good for him.
No,
he had a few others.
The Saint was okay.
I'd say Kiss
Kiss
Bang Bang.
I know about Fusion.
I'd say Kiss Bang Bang. For me, was the last one I really loved him in. Anyway, folks.
Hey guys!
Yeah.
Remember when he was Batman?
I'd like to forget that. Thank you.
So,
Doc Holliday in Tombstone. Sorry.
Oh wow, those were great. So, folks, stay tuned for the Val Kilmer Junkie podcast. So kidding.
Coming up next.
Coming up next is no, so kidding. Thank you everyone for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time. Have a good night, everyone. Bye bye.
I'll be your Huckleberry.